So Jesse Bam Rodriguez stopped Sonny Edwards in the ninth round to unify the IBF and WBO World Flyweight titles. Now, when you're fighting a guy who has longer arms than you and he knows how to use them, the way you compensate for it is with head movement and superior footwork. The idea is you keep your feet moving, constantly darting in and out of range, lateral movement from side to side to throw your opponent's timing off. And then when he misses a punch or overextends, you use that head movement and those quick feet to step inside his longer arms and rattle off combinations because the arc of your punches is tighter than the arc of his punches. So you have the advantage up close. But if he's a bigger puncher than you don't want to stay in there for too long. It needs to be raiding tactics, in and out. But the principle of it is, like I say, constant in and out movement with the feet and side to side, combined with head movement, draw the leads, step inside, get your shots off, roll underneath and get out, step off to the side. Vasyl Lomachenko and Alexander Usyk are masters of this. They've been very successful with it, including against bigger, longer armed, heavier punching opponents. Obviously, Vasyl Lomachenko has lost a few times now, but Alexander Usyk is still undefeated. Those are the kind of tactics that a lot of people thought Sonny Edwards would employ against Jesse Bam Rodriguez, but he didn't. Maybe he doesn't quite have the level of footwork necessary to pull off those tactics against a fighter as skilled as Bam Rodriguez, or maybe Sonny Edwards just got his tactics wrong because he seemed to think that he needed to get Rodriguez's respect. And in order to do that, he'd have to stand and actually trade with him a little bit and show him that he punches a bit harder than his record would suggest. Remember, he's only got 4 knockout victories. Did Sonny Edwards believe in his own limited power a bit too much? Or would the fight have gone even worse for him if he had got on his bike and tried the hit and hop it stuff that I just described? Now, I'm not saying he needed to run necessarily. Usyk and Lomachenko don't really run, do they? They stay right there at long range or mid range. With Lomachenko, sometimes he'll get right up on you, up close, and they punch in between your shots. The arc of their punches is tighter. The arc of Sonny Edwards' punches are tighter than Bam Rodriguez's, but he was staying in the pocket for too long, holding his feet and allowing Rodriguez to punch back. Now, with all that being said, when you're trying the tactics I just described against the southpaw, and of course Bam Rodriguez is a southpaw, it complicates things somewhat. Sonny Edwards tried to switch southpaw himself a few times, but to little or no avail. Rodriguez was spearing him with that long jab, pummeling him with body shots, and then following up with a southpaw left. Sometimes he'd throw it straight, other times he'd throw it as a hook or an uppercut. Skill-wise, there wasn't a massive gap between them, but the physical strength and the punching power of Bam Rodriguez is really what separated them in my view. Sonny Edwards landed plenty of his own shots, but they had no effect. At the end of the fight, Sonny Edwards looked like he'd been in a car accident and Bam Rodriguez was almost completely unmarked. I know some fighters mark up more easily than others, but I think this fight was an example of one fighter being more marked up than the other because one hit harder than the other. Of course, he was also landing a lot of shots, Bam Rodriguez, obviously, but Sonny Edwards was getting marked up from early, at a time in the fight when they were both landing at least a similar amount of punches. Now, tactics aside, just from an entertainment standpoint, this was a really good fight. Back and forth action. Sonny Edwards was very game, showed plenty of heart. Rodriguez obviously was not only matching him, but outdoing him. There was some great exchanges, some great boxing. But there's a reason that I don't often watch Sonny Edwards fights. And I have seen a number of his fights over the years, but there are plenty that I've skipped. And it's because of that lack of punching power. People act like punching power is overrated. I actually think it's underrated. Don't get it twisted, it's not all you need, but just look at a guy like Deontay Wilder, for example. Poor skills, but because of that phenomenal punching power, he's been able to compete and succeed at the top level in the heavyweight division. That's how valuable punching power can be. The great equalizer. And that's what draws fans in, makes them want to watch. Not all fans, but a lot of fans. I want to say most fans. If they know at least one of the fighters in a contest can really crack, they're intrigued to see what's going to happen. Now, Jesse Rodriguez isn't in a way in terms of punching power, but he definitely had a lot more punching power and has a lot more punching power than Sonny Edwards. And that's what made this fight as entertaining as it was, that one of the fighters was able to do damage. If both guys had had the same power, let's say both guys could only hit as hard as Sonny Edwards. Would it really have been as entertaining? In my opinion, no. Jesse Rodriguez was able to drop Sonny Edwards late in the fight. Edwards bravely, courageously got to his feet, wanted to continue, but when he went back to his corner, they decided to wave it off. But I do have to say, Sonny Edwards didn't complain when his corner waved it off. I don't know what the rules are specifically in every state in America with regards to who can stop a fight. We know that corners will throw in a towel to stop a fight even against their fighter's wishes. But when the fighter makes it back to the corner, in some instances, the fighter has to give the okay for the corner to stop it. The corner can't stop it of their own volition. Was that the case here? Did Sonny Edwards give his corner the okay to stop it? Because if he did, you know what that means. And if you're new to this channel, I'm not one of these people who gives fighters a tough time for quitting in really tough contests. I'm not the one in there taking the punishment. It's not my life on the line. But it is what it is. If a guy can continue but decides not to, that is called quitting. Did Sonny Edwards quit here? I don't know. Depends on the rules in the state where this fight took place. In any event, great contest, very entertaining. Jesse Rodriguez, at just 23 years of age, is starting to compile a nice resume. There's talk of matching him against Chocolatito Gonzalez, which will be interesting, although he's kind of long in the tooth now. How many of you guys would be interested in that fight? And as for Sonny Edwards, I don't know if there was a rematch clause in the contract for this one. And if there is, would he even want it? Would any of you want to see it if they run it back straight away? Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section below.